Hello, I'm Emma. Welcome back to Thinking on It. This is episode 3. We made it. We made it to episode 3. Now, it's been a while since I recorded, but I have been a busy girl. I have been out and about. I've been traveling. I had people visit. By people, I mean, yes, of course, Madam Grace. Um, but yeah, I've been busy. So I haven't been able to sit down and do a little chit chat because it's a hobby that it does take a bit of time. I'm enjoying the podcasting realm, but it does take time. So it's not like I don't know, I can't do it all the time. And that's okay because that's what's fun about a hobby. Um, anyway, let's see what all has happened since I last chit chatted on here. Okay. First off, of course, Grace came to visit and we had literally the best time ever. We had so much fun. She came on Thursday. Thursday we just like got food and hung out, caught up, whatever. Friday went and got brunch, went and walked around, went and got a nice dinner that we ordered way too much food at. It was a lot. Didn't mean to do that. Then we went to a concert. We went and saw Peter McPoland. He was great. I had a really good time. I thought he was really good. It was kind of weird to like that was the first time I think I've been to a concert where like I was the same age as the people performing. I mean, maybe I have before, but like I don't know. It was like he seemed very much like a real person, and then he was doing things, and I was like, this is just interesting. And I don't know if I want to elaborate on that more or not. But he was really good. I enjoyed the set. He was very into it, and like it was great. His opener was good. Steven Dawes or something. I really liked him, and I had heard some of his music beforehand, which I always love. I love when I go to a concert not knowing who the opener is, and then I'm like, oh wait, shit, yes, I do know who this is, and oh my god, I love that song or whatever. So that was kind of fun, and I enjoyed that. I bought his merch. I didn't like his merch. Sorry, Petey, if you're listening. Wasn't the biggest fan of your merch, but I did purchase some because there's one concert that I went to. It was Vance Joy, and I didn't buy a t-shirt, and that is like the only concert I've been to where I didn't buy a t-shirt, and I've like regretted it ever since. So I always buy a stupid $45 t-shirt at a concert. But yes, we saw Petey. He didn't play Prom Queen, which was horribly upsetting, but hey, that's okay. It happens. It's only my favorite song. But he played literally every other song. So I'm going to let it slide just this one time. So we saw him at the House of Blues in Chicago. I've never been to a House of Blues. So that was cool. It's a cool venue. Like there's cool art and fun stuff and it's quirky and interesting. Um however, it's honestly not the best venue to actually see somebody. Grace and I ended up wandering around for like 40 minutes trying to find a place where we could like see. We did. We ended up not sitting. God, we could not afford to sit. We ended up standing like back by the bar. We actually had pretty good, like a good view and stuff. But oh my God, that venue is like not set up for the amount of people they let in. I'm telling you. Okay. And something else that pisses me off. Sorry, going on a tangent, House of Blues tangent. These tickets were like $35, okay? Cheap for concerts nowadays. Cheap, cheap, cheap. The VIPs, which it's not like VIP like you get to meet the person. VIP just means like you're sitting somewhere pretty far back, but like you're sitting. VIPs were like $50 a person. And then box seats, they had like boxes like a theater, just a handful of them. Those were $75 a person. And nobody was using, like literally nobody was sitting in VIPs. Nobody was sitting in these boxes. And like they didn't even lower the price after, the opener went on. I was upset by that. Like the seats should not cost more than the concert itself. Like that's crazy to me. Like the venue is, making that money almost at that point. Like I was just like, so that was upsetting. And I think that that is stupid. And I think that they, first off, shouldn't be that expensive. And second off, shouldn't be that expensive the whole concert. Like after the opener, drop that price, after the first 15 minutes of the show, drop that price. Whatever. I was still mad about it because it was just hard to see. But we made it work. We were fine. We ended up being able to see just fine. So I'm complaining for no reason, basically. But hey, that's okay. The opener was, his name was, Stephen Dawes. Ooh, I don't know if that's right. I didn't really know who he was. And then I did. I was like, I love when that happens. When you go to a concert and you like don't know who the opener is, and then all of a sudden they're like playing a song and you're like, "Oh my god, I love this song. I know who this is. This is great." So that was kind of fun and I was really into him and I liked that. So I thought he was really good. Um I bought a shirt. Did I talk about this? I don't remember. I bought a shirt. I always buy a shirt at concerts. There's one concert I didn't buy a shirt at, Vance Joy, and I've regretted it ever since. So I spent $40 on a shirt. I don't really like it. Sorry, Petey. Petey was not a huge fan of the merch, but I still bought one because I like have to. I just don't know when I'm gonna wear it because I don't know. It was just a lot for me. But yes, we went to the concert, and then after the concert, we went to this bar in Chicago. It was literally so much fun. We were dancing our little booties off. Um, yeah, it was such a good time. Like Gracie Poo and I were literally just thriving. We got so many compliments from like all these people. They were like, "You two look like you're having the best time," and this. And people were like, "I love like watching you guys. You guys are just having so much fun." And I was like, I mean, yeah, like you should too. It's fun to have fun and just like dance around and sing. The band there was crazy. The bar was called Howl at the Moon. My coworker recommended it. It was really fun. And yeah, the band was awesome. They like kept switching instruments and like were so talented. It was great. It was so fun. And then what did we do on Saturday? Oh, Saturday we went to the Gopher Bar. So I'm a gopher, if I haven't mentioned that. Go Gophs. It's the University of Minnesota. And there's a bar in Chicago. So we went there. We like didn't drink or anything. We just like hung out, talked to this man, or this man talked to us for the entirety of the game. But he was nice. It was good. Yeah. We left at halftime, but overall, it was good. I'd been to that bar before, so it's not like that was my first time there or anything. But that was fun. And then we just hung out here. We made a little cheese board, a little charcuterie board. We had charcuterie, and then I think we might have had Trader Joe's orange chicken as well as the charcuterie, and I think that was our dinner. Which like I would not change it. That is what we ate, I'm pretty sure. And it was great. And I don't even remember what we were talking about that night, but like I laughed so hard I cried. I don't even know how many times. Like I was peeing my pants laughing. It was such a good time. I'm so glad she came to visit. We watched 3 Harry Potter movies while she was here, which I'm honestly really proud of us for. So we started on it's it's come to the time of the podcast where what, maybe 6 minutes in or something. We're at this part of the podcast where we talk about Harry Potter. So we started on the second movie, Thank You for Asking, because that's just a certified Grace and Emma classic. It's hilarious. So we watched that one. And then we said, let's skip 3. 3 is my favorite, but I've watched it so many times over the years that like it's okay to skip it sometimes. We went to 4 because 4 is also kind of silly, goofy, like 2. Um, we watched 5, but I don't really like remember watching 5. Like we weren't like watching 5. I think we were playing like the New York Times puzzles, like the games on the phone. You know what I'm talking about? Wordle and connections and all that. I think we were doing that during 5. And then I think honestly we started 6. So That's crazy that we did that. That takes a lot. And like we did so much that weekend. Like she came to I had it was just the best weekend ever. Um so yes, that was that weekend, and then it was standard week at work. Standard week at work. Don't Oh, no, it wasn't. It was not a standard week at work. Upon further inspection, it was for sure not a standard week at work, and we lost power to so I work at the corn milling plant, me at Yield Factory. So Yield Factory did in fact lose power because somebody did run into, like, I don't know, one of the power saying, wow. Yeah, and it exploded and it was throwing sparks everywhere and it was scary, and I thought I was going to die for a minute. But everybody else was remaining calm, so I was like, "Hey, I guess I'm going to be calm as well," even though I thought those were my final moments. They weren't though. But yeah, the plant lost power, and that was weird and interesting and crazy. But other than that, I guess it was a standard week. We got it back and it was fine. Um and then I had a weekend where I don't even know. I went out for Halloween. Eh, it was fun, but it wasn't my favorite of events. I went to the bar crawl in Chicago, the like Wrigleyville bar crawl. Just like tons of people. Like to me it wasn't fun because I couldn't, like, you weren't really talking, you weren't really meeting new people. And I feel like that's one reason why you go out, is to like meet new people, talk to new people, whatever. That being said, have I ever done that? No. But you couldn't do that if you tried, because like it was so loud everywhere. Number two reason I think you go out is to like dance or sing and like have fun. Couldn't do that because there were so many people that you were like shoved shoulder to shoulder next to everyone. And there were people constantly walking through your group to like get out, like constantly. And then the third reason you would go to a bar is like to socialize. Once again, like even in your group, way too loud. Couldn't do that. So overall, I think it was kind of a flop. But hey, I didn't buy my ticket. My friend bought me my ticket. So I didn't waste the $65. But yeah, I will not be going to that bar crawl again. Loved the Taylor Swift bar crawl I went to like a few months ago, but yeah, the Halloween one, just like literally thousands of people, like way too many people. Yeah, that was not really my vibe, but I did it. And I'm sure if I would have stayed home, I would have been like, I should have gone out. So I guess I'm glad I went out. I did like some of the girls that I met. Because I went out with friends and then they had friends who I had never met, and I did like some of them. So that was good. Then this past week, sorry, this is the longest like catch up ever, but it's my podcast, so it's fine. This past week I went on a work conference and I had a great time. My work conference was crazy. I'm sure every work conference is crazy. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't think it would be like how it was. It was literally so much fun. Probably my favorite week I've had like this year. I had such a good time. I met so many people that I loved. I was so sad to leave, and I still am kind of like, damn it. Damn it. I wish I was back at my work conference. Although I could not do what I was doing there every day because like, whew, there was not a lot of sleeping. There was quite a bit of extracurriculars happening, and like, wow, it really took it out of me. But yeah, I met just tons of really cool, nice, awesome people that I don't know if I like miss them because I don't know them very well, but like I do. You know what I mean? I was very myself, and I feel like I met a lot of people that like filled my bucket. You know what I mean? That like I would hang out with regularly if we lived together, or that I would at least like try to get to know more and figure out the vibes and stuff. But none of those people live near me. So that's a little heartbreaking. But I think I'm going to still try and like keep in touch with them. I've talked to one of the guys a little bit, but I don't know. I think maybe on Friday I'll text some other people. But yeah, it was so much fun. The conference was in Iowa Falls. My new vacation spot, Iowa Falls, the American Inn. I think that was what it's called. I literally loved it. There was a hot tub. Oh my god, I played the best game of pool of my life. I played lots of pool. And I was like great at it. And it was not me. There was a guy who was like helping me a lot. I like asked. We were a great team. It was so fun. I like did really well in pool to the point where like I decided that so when I get a house, I don't have a lot of I mean I do I guess have a lot of wants with a house or goals or ideas or whatever. I always kind of wanted to build my own house. I think that would be really fun. But I don't know if that we'll see. But I used to always just really care about like I wanted a sorry, this is a tangent. I wanted a bathroom with like a giant bathtub. Like I want to be able to sink in it and just have my head above. I want to be fully submersed. And I want to have one of those trays that I can put like my laptop on and a candle and a bath bomb. Oh, like that is my dream. That is my dream. And then, ideally I have more bells and whistles. Heated towel rack, that'd be crazy. Heated floors would be crazy. But I don't know. I don't think I need all those things. But I do want a giant bathtub. But now sorry. But now I also want a pool table. I want a pool table in my house so badly. I used to never understand that. And now I'm like, oh my God, I want a pool table in my house. Of course, my husband would have to like play pool with me, like want to play pool. And I would play quips, which is like where you like have to hit the ball and then it hits. Oh, I'm doing a horrible job of explaining this. It's basically like you go up against one other person, but it can be a large group of people. And you like there's two pool balls and you hit one ball, you hit the other ball with it, and then it goes flying, and then the other person has to basically get the first ball or yeah, get the first ball and hit the second one before it stops moving, and they have to stand like behind a certain spot of the table. And if they don't hit the ball before it stops moving and the ball stops moving, then that person is out. The game is called Quips, or at least that's what my friends and I called it. And I just did a horrible job of explaining it, but you win some, you lose some. We didn't play any Quips. That sucks. We should have played Quips. But then again, it was a pool table next to a pool. So I would play pool and then go play pool. And that was like a joke that I did. I did say that nobody like really commented. I think I got like a pity laugh from this guy who's like, like a pity laugh. Because I did say like, all right, let's go play pool and then we can pool anyway. But yeah, it was right next to a swimming pool, so like we couldn't play quips. So you'd be running on the pool deck, and like I was a lifeguard for too many years for that. Um, call me lame. Like it was right next to a pool. Like it would just be a horrible idea to play quips. People fall over when you're not next to a pool. Like it gets intense. It's sort of like spoons equivalent of intense. If you've ever played an intense game of spoons, I would say it's arguably more intense than spoons. But spoons gets pretty fucking crazy. But anyway, so yeah, I played pool. I played beer pong a couple times. Apparently I did really well in beer pong also. I was really just like doing well at everything, which that doesn't happen for me a lot of the time. A lot of the time I'm not great at most things. I was killing everything. I was really good at pool. I was really good at pong. I was really good at welding. I learned how to weld. So this was an engineering conference at the end of the day. So we did learn things and like technical skills and stuff. So I got to try welding. I was honestly, okay, I wasn't really good, right? But I was pretty good at the stick one where you have a stick. It's called stick welding. It's different than what you think of when you think of normal welding, which is like closer, I guess. But I was really good at the stick welding where it's like in between the clampy boys and it's a stick and then you have to like touch it to ignite it and then you like slowly it's not even like you drag it, you like push it down because it's burning off the stick. It's crazy. I loved it and I kind of would love if that could be a new hobby for me, but like unsure how to do that. It was a lot like decorating, like icing a cake. I told the man, Tim, who taught me how to weld that, I was like, Timmy, hey, you ever decorated a cake? And he was like, no. I said, you should. Because like he would be great at it. Like he was such a good welder. And like you can't see shit when you're welding. You have this like thing on where it's like you're wearing the darkest sunglasses known to man indoors. Darker than you think, and you can only see when you're like actually welding. It's really hard. That's the hardest part about it, I think, is the sight aspect. But I I did get to keep something I welded. I don't have it here with me, so I can't show and tell, sadly. I did bring it to work with me. It's a new desk item. I love desk items. I want to get more desk items, like things to put on my desk to display. I currently have like a random valve. It's like I think it's a ball valve. I don't actually know. I should check now that I know different types of valves more so. But I have a big old valve that sits on my desk, and now I have my little welded thing, which so there's a smiley face on one side, there's a heart on one side. It's sort of a shaped like this. So there's like a smiley face and then a heart, and then on these sides there's little stick figures. So like I drew a stick figure, and then this other girl drew a stick figure, and then Timmy, I was like, Tim, can you please draw a stick figure so we could see how it's done? So Tim also drew a stick figure. Oh my god, I never named them. Whoa. I'm gonna have to name them. But yes, that now sits on my desk, which is so exciting, and I love that. Um, what else did I do at this conference? Oh my, I taught. So a fun fact about me that I don't know if I've talked about is that I did synchronized swimming for a really long time. Oh, I have. I have talked about this. Um, but I like my toxic trait, I get in that pool and I immediately just want to do synchro all the time. And I don't care if other people are there and I don't want them to think that I'm doing it like to impress them. It has if anything, like if I wanted to do something to impress them, it would not be synchronized swimming at the pool at the work function. You know what I mean? But I did, like, I can't help myself from not doing synchro. So naturally I did some synchro moves and some of the guys got like kind of into it. The Cedar boys were like kind of into the synchro. So I taught them synchro for a little bit. Like I just had a great time getting to know all these people. It was literally so much fun. And also all of the coordinators and like people who are actually running the program like were so cool and hung out with us at night and like we just had a great time. The four people that I work with at Ye Old Factory here, we also had a really good time, like just the four of us. Like we got to know each other better and it was just all really, really, really good. And I'm very sad that it is over and that I am back here. With that being said, I am making the most of it and it made me feel a lot better about just everything in general. So like that's a plus. I'm feeling better about working and stuff like that. Not that I wasn't beforehand, but it instilled even more like confidence, I guess, and whatnot. So that was really good. But yes. Whew. That was my long-winded summary of what has been happening. That's a lot. Everyone's still here. It's daylight savings. Like it ended. So we're no longer saving the daylight. We instead have gotten rid of it. And I'm not very happy about it. But on the bright side, that's a daylight savings joke. On the bright side, it was the sun like rose as I was driving to work. So that was awesome. So the sun, like, I for some reason I thought that the sun like was coming up at like 5 a.m. or something when daylight savings ends, and I was always pissed because I was like, why the fuck is the sun coming up at 5 a.m. and then it's setting at 4? But in reality, if the sun's coming up at like 6:30 or 6:15 ish, and it's setting at like 5, so like it's just like the sun just she's not there a lot, and I kind of get that. Would I rather it be 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.? Yeah, I think I really would. Because like the 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm not a fan of. And I used to always not relate to that. So I used to be like, I don't really get it, like whatever. It's not that I wasn't empathetic towards it, of course I was, but I just never experienced like having issues with it. And now I'm like, oh my god, I get it. I think it's because I live alone now, and so and because I'm working. I think those are the two factors that have made me be like, "Oh, okay. Yes, I do not see the sun." And that's tough because at least during school it was like I was outside on campus, or I don't know, I had friends that I was hanging out with like every night. I lived with people that I loved. So it was just a little like I didn't notice it as much. I didn't really care. So now it's like I'm noticing it a lot, and I am in fact caring. But I mean, I know I'm going to be okay with it. Like I just have to sort of adapt to it and maybe change up my schedule a little bit and really keep myself busy in the evenings with stuff. Which I am. I'm Let's go into our little week ahead, the what we're looking forward to. So this week, right, back at work after my crazy weekend. Literally Saturday, I was down for the count. I was out. I was so horribly unwell. I don't know why. I like wasn't hungover or anything. I was hungover on Friday. I was hungover on that plane. You best believe. But Saturday, I just like I don't even know what time I woke up. I ended up taking like a 3 hour nap in the middle of the day, which I never do. I never take naps. I only take naps when I have a fever of like 104 and I'm on my deathbed and my body is shutting down. I swear. Otherwise, I'm not a napper. So that was like something was wrong. I ordered food to my house not once, but twice because I couldn't. I mean, not only did I not like have any food at my home because I was traveling, but like I could not go to the grocery store. I like simply could not go to the store. So I was pretty down bad on Saturday. Sunday was good though. I got myself up. I went to the grocery store. I got my shit together. Um but yes, the week so I'm trying to get back. Basically what that was a long-winded way of me trying to say like I'm back. I'm trying to get my life a little bit more in order and also adapt to the daylight savings ending. So I'm going to go to a craft event on Wednesday, and I'm going to be myself at it, and it's going to be fun, and I'm going to crochet because I've kind of been slacking. Not horribly, but I've been slacking a little bit. So I want to get back into that a little bit more. With that being said, I did crochet today and yesterday, but I haven't made any more squares. I started at connected squares. So I really need to be making more squares because my blanket is going to take me, I'd say, 6 more months, which I think is what I said last month. So I'm about a month behind. But yeah, I'm doing that on Wednesday. My office people, hello, my coworkers, my little corn huskers, and I think might do trivia this week. I'd like to. I don't know if we will or not, but we'll see. Um, then that's kind of it. My birthday's in 2 weeks, so that's exciting. I'm gonna be 23, which I think is a year that won't count. I'm gonna say it now. 23, that doesn't count. I don't really think 22 counted. I liked most of 22. Most of 22 was good, and then I graduated, and then 22 kind of stopped counting. Um, and I don't think that 23 is going to count either. I think that it's time. It's the year for simply simply giving ourselves some grace, simply being kind to ourselves, putting ourselves out there, having fun, taking care of ourselves, getting to know new people, exploring maybe. I don't know. That's what 23 is for, I think. I don't think it's going to count. I think it's a toss up. Hey, maybe it'll be the best year ever. We could manifest that. How do you feel about manifesting? I'm not really sure. I think I like it. I think I like it actually. I think I'm a fan of manifesting um because it's one of those things where it's like it goes with like the future self mindset of if you want something in your future, you sort of can do things now to make that happen. And that seems like a stupid statement, but like it's true, Like if you're going to manifesting is like it's putting it out there, and I think inadvertently you're then going to work towards it. So like cuz it's like if you're manifesting that something's going to be bad, like it's probably more likely that it's going to be bad because you're not going to go into it with like a positive mindset or an as positive a mindset. If you were saying over and over again that something's going to be bad, that's like manifesting, in my opinion, is sort of it's like a combination of like expectations and like self-doubt, but also what's the opposite of self-doubt? Like self-confidence. Is there a word that combines both of those? Just like yourself ness in situations, whether you're going to be doubting yourself or you're going to be confident in yourself, It sort of is, it's the combo between that and your expectations for a situation. So I think manifesting is legit. And so I think we're going to manifest that 23 is going to be good. And I think it's going to be fun and positive, and I'm going to grow a lot and learn a lot and have so much fun and meet new people. That's 23 for me. 23 and me for sure. How do you guys like my squirrel mug, by the way? I love my squirrel mug. I think it's super cute. But anyway, yep. So my birthday's in 2 weeks. So that's exciting. Other than that, I mean, we got Thanksgiving coming up. I'll probably record again before Thanksgiving. Um, so yeah, we won't spoil what we're excited for next. So now we're in the bulk of the pod. Let's see what I wanted to talk about. Oh, I wanted a pool table in my home. That's in my notes app, and we discussed it. We really did discuss it. Um, I kind of wanted to talk about the subtle culture shock of living in different states. So let's get into it. So, like I said, I'm originally from Pittsburgh. Um, love it. I'm a loyal Yinzer, if you will. I'm wearing, wow, I didn't even plan this. I'm wearing a Pittsburgh shirt. Not that you can tell because my camera quality is non existent. But I am, because every time I go to a thrift store or a vintage fest, some other mumbo jumbo like that, you best believe I look for a crew neck that has to do with Pittsburgh. And if I find it, it's coming home with me. Like I'm gonna buy it. Even if I don't really like it, I'm gonna buy it. And I'm gonna wear it. So this is my second one that I've ever had. Funny enough, I only ever find Steelers stuff. I never find like Penguin shit or like any other Pittsburgh related thing. It's always football, which is fine and dandy. I love football. I like the Steelers a lot. They won this past Thursday at the conference, which was exciting for me. Um, but but yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh, and I lived there until I went to college, and then I went to the University of Minnesota up in Minneapolis, and woo, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the Midwestern culture. And when I talk about this, I know that I'm referring to stereotypes, but like, and I know that I'm not gonna be able to articulate this as well as I want to, but my heart stereotypes are sort of there for a reason because generally it's a generalization. Generally, it's a generalization. Like they exist for a reason, sort of. And it doesn't mean that everybody fits into it. It doesn't mean that everybody should fit into it or shouldn't or whatever. It doesn't mean anything. But it's a theme, is what I would say. It's like a motif. It's a theme that goes through. And like that's really what culture is, you know? Culture is, you could break it down to a sort of stereotype. And so that's sort of what I'm getting at. I'm going to preface it as that. I don't mean this in any harmful ways or anything. So don't come for me. But I remember when I first got to school, I had a teacher and it was like the intro to the college class. And she was describing, she like worked a lot with students that were out of state or international. And she was describing like how she described the different areas of the US to her students or to um her out of state students especially. And she like compared them to fruit. And I think I'm going to mess up this analogy completely, but maybe I won't. But she said something like the Midwesterners are like peaches. They're like stone fruits where they're like really soft and like nice on the outside and this and that. And then they've got this like evil hardcore where they're like actually very petty and very like they kind of hold a grudge or things like that. Like I said, totally a stereotype, totally an over simplification, over exaggeration, what have you. It is. And I'm going to get to that. Then she said the East Coasters are like coconuts. Like we are hard on the outside. We're kind of mean. To a lot of people, we come off as like mean. But then you get to know us and we're like really nice and fun and stuff. And I completely agreed with that. I was like, yeah, that's an East Coaster. That's a little bit of me. And I don't remember any of the other fruits because I don't really care. But generally, I mean, if you think about it, right, your southern folk are normally pretty sweet. I don't know. I don't know anything about the South, and I don't really know anything about the West. I mean, when I think of West Coast, I think of like Cali, like Cowabunga. Um, but then there's like the whole LA culture with that too. So I'm not really going to speak on those two too much of the West and South. And I know that you can break up the US obviously into more differences and stuff, but I'm talking about my experience with the subtle culture shock of living in different states. And like my parents who have only lived in Pittsburgh or only lived in Pennsylvania, like only really know that. So I've like tried talking to them about this and they just don't really like get it. Or it's not that they don't get it, but like they don't see it, so they don't get it. And that's okay. And that's true. But I met this guy at the conference who was from California and he now lives in Nebraska. And we connected so instantly about this because it was just like crazy because I was like, oh my God, like you get it. Because I think the West Coast and the East Coast are more similar than say the East Coast and the Midwest or the West Coast and the Midwest. And then I think the Midwest and the South have more in common as well. So me and him we were talking about this, the culture shock and the like differences and how crazy it is. And it's like it's almost hard to explain if you haven't lived in it. So it's probably a bad topic for a podcast considering I'm here to explain. But I'll just give some examples. So Minnesota, Minneapolis, like notice how I keep saying like Minnesota. The Minnesotans love their state and they are like, I'm a Minnesotan. Same with like Wisconsinites, like they're Wisconsinites. They're like, I love Wisconsin, you know? Whereas if you're in Pittsburgh, I would never be like, I love Pennsylvania. I'm a Pennsylvanian. Like that's not something we say. And that's just like East Coast in general. Like it's more city related. Or even if you're not from a city, it's more town. Like you wouldn't be like, I love Pennsylvania necessarily. Whereas Minnesota, like people, everybody and their mom has like a tattoo of the state or has like a sticker of it on their water bottle, which I love, like me included. No. But it's just like they love their state and like that's just really interesting to me. I remember learning about that and that was interesting. An obvious one for a culture shock is driving. At first, right, it took me several years to sort of realize this. At first, it was people would be like, so these people are bad drivers. New York City, those are bad drivers. You know, other people would be like, Chicagoans, they're bad drivers. They are. You heard it here first. The Chicagoans are bad drivers. But I had to learn that it wasn't necessarily that the Minneapolis folk were bad drivers. It was just that I needed to adapt to how they drove. Like they just drive differently than I drive. I like when you're merging, me talking about merging on the pod, riveting stuff. When you're merging though onto a highway, right, in Pittsburgh, the person merging on slows down. Like we would come to a full stop if there's like oncoming traffic and wait until there was a moment for us to go in. The Minneapolis folk, they don't do that. They speed up. So if you're going fast and you don't slow down for the people coming on, they get really mad at you. they get really mad at you. And it took me longer than it should have to realize that that was what was going on. But yeah, that's just how it is over there. And I mean, there's a ton of other different things. And some are more niche, like Pittsburgh. We do a Pittsburgh left, but like I know that that's Pittsburgh. Um, so like it's a really a toss up there. But generally speaking, I think like if you this is one of those moments where if you can't beat them, join them is so real to an extent. Here in Chicago, oh my god, the amount of people I see run red lights and fully will stop at a red light and then go through it every day. I see at least one person do that. Terrifying, hate it, want to curl up into a ball. That's awful to me. I don't like it. Or just like people on the highway that are flying and like not using their blinkers. I don't know who taught the people to drive here how to drive, but like I hate it. With that being said, I have adapted a little bit. You know, you have to be more of a what's the word like an offense. I lost my whole water bottle. Oh my gosh, devastating. Here it is. You have to be more of an offensive driver here than a defensive driver, but you have to be conscious, you have to be smart. But like if you want to merge, you don't wait for somebody really. Like you obviously don't cut people off, but it's like you kind of squeeze in almost, and that's like what you do here. So those are some like driving is a very clear example of like differences, not necessarily culture shock, you know, but there's just so many different things that you realize as a whole is different. And I like love getting to know people from different places and like getting to understand like how they work, you know, how they tick. And I just find that to be so interesting. And it's like one of the reasons why I think I want to be in like leadership eventually, or I've always loved like TAing for younger classes and just getting to know other people from all over the place. Like I just find it so interesting. And I didn't find it interesting until I started experiencing it. And so now I'm in my third location, right? I'm in Chicago after Minneapolis, and I'm like learning sort of the stuff here. Although most of the people that I've met from Chicago aren't from Chicago. Like they just live here. I dated a guy who was from Chicago though, and like it's different when it's only one person. You can't really see the stereotypes. That's why they're stereotypes. Like I didn't really pick him up necessarily with that guy I dated because he was just one example. But like if you have a big enough pool and you're there for a long enough time, that's when you sort of can experience the like real differences and these niche things that are just they're so interesting to me. Um so yeah, that's my take on the subtle culture shock of living in different states. Maybe I should read about it. I bet there's like books about it. That'd be cool. I'm not really a nonfiction girly. Well, and I don't want it to get like not like I don't want it to get political necessarily. Maybe I do. Maybe that would be interesting. Ooh, maybe I found a new genre of book I want to read. Speaking of books, so I'm taking a break from Harry Potter. I read the first and the second Harry Potter, or was rereading them. And now I'm taking a brief pause from that because I don't know. I don't know, guys. I needed to get back to normal reading for me. Sorry, my nose gets really itchy when I podcast and I don't know why. Um but anyway, I'm reading Court of Thorns and Roses, the first book. So far, I like it. I'm not going to spoil anything. So far I like it. I don't I don't love it though. I really liked it at the start. It caught me. It got me into it. I'm around chapter 9 or 10 maybe. And like I'm liking it still, but I don't know. I don't know if it's for me for sure. Like I think I like the fantasy stuff, but maybe not that much. Like I liked Harry Potter. I like realistic fiction the most. Okay. Realistic fiction is my happy place. And then magical realism, I'm not sure if I love. I've read a good bit, maybe not a good bit, but I've read a, a handful of magical realism, such as I've I've read The Starless Sea. I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and like a few others, but I don't know if it's for me. I liked those books, but I didn't like love them. You know what I'm saying? So this is me kind of trying fantasy for sure. Um, and I don't know. We're gonna see how it goes. One of the guys I met this week told me that like he didn't love it, and I was like, damn it, that's tough. We had a lot in common. And I was like, damn it, if he didn't love it, chances are I may not love it as much. So, but my old roommate, Madam Gracie Poo, like literally loved it. So we'll see. I'm not knocking it. I'm trying it. Okay. I found a new bookstore that I love too. In Minneapolis, there was a bookstore. It was like called Margaret and Quinn's, I think, booksellers. Oh, I loved it. It's one of the things that I miss most about Minneapolis was that bookstore. I loved that bookstore. And since I've been living here, I was like, oh, I do in fact need to go and find a new bookstore. There's a few in Pilsen that I don't really love, which is fine. It's okay. It's okay. But they just aren't for me, and that's okay. But I now found one I love. Don't know the name of it. Can't tell you the name of it. Maybe next week. But it is like they had all of the books that I was like looking for or loved on display. So it was like I walk in immediately, lessons in chemistry, tomorrow. Like all the books that I've read recently that I've loved are sitting at the front. And then like this book is up there, Court of Thorns and Roses. And I was like, perfect. Perfect. I said, awesome. Then I found out they had a rewards program. That's awesome too. I haven't been to a bookstore that I didn't even ask what the rewards were for. I wonder if it's like buy 10 books, get one half off or something. I don't know. I know that like little bookstores cost more, but I like love to see the passion behind the people that like own it and the people that work there. They put so much like thought and care into the organization of their books, into the reviews that they like leave out, their recommendations, and like they just do good. I kind of want to work at a bookstore, but I don't know if I've been tempted to get kind of a second job just because I think it could be fun, but I also don't want to get burnt out. So it would really have to be a job that doesn't feel like a job. Maybe that's volunteering. Maybe I should start volunteering. I should look into really look into volunteering because I think I would really enjoy it because you most of the time, you know, or at least it's what you make of it, it's what you want it to be. And I really want to like meet new people. And so, like, that could be a great thing for me. Anyway, me having a revelation about volunteering during the pod. That's why podcasting is fun. Because, like, sometimes you get on a tangent and then all of a sudden you're like, I should do that. And I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write down that I should podcast or not podcast, volunteer. I'll put it in my weekend goals. Volunteer, like, look into volunteering. because I just think it would be good. I don't know. I don't know exactly where I would volunteer at, but anyway, I wanted to. I loved teaching swim lessons, so I kind of want to do that again. I especially would love to teach a baby class, like where the parents are there and you like spin in a circle and it's like stupid and fun. Like I would eat that up. I'd love to teach a baby baby swimming class. Not where you like throw the baby in and then they like float. Like not one of those, but like a parent baby class. And then I mean I taught like toddler. I taught a lot of people how to swim. I taught adults. She's done it all. So I mean I would love to teach synchro as well. I don't really know if I'm fully qualified though, because I think I learned how to do synchro wrong. Um or at least like the way I was taught is like not the way you're supposed to do it. But you know, whatever. I could probably relearn. I'd much rather do synchro than teach it. But I'd love to teach some lessons and I'd love to I think work at a bookstore. I don't think I'm qualified enough yet. Like I don't read enough yet. I may I guess I'm gonna break 13 books this year. I'll probably be close to like 15, which I think is pretty good. Um so I'm pretty proud of myself for that. But like how did we get on this topic? I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll literally never know. Let's go and see. Let's go back to my little podcast noties. Noties. Okay. Oh, let's do my favorite. Let's should we do books? I mean, we've already talked about it, but I could sort of get into it a little bit more. So, I do kind of like doing this. I don't know if it's a segment or not, but it's fun to sort of go through. So, I have a Goodreads. I love my Goodreads. Well, I don't know why I tried to show you it like that. Like you can't fucking see it. I have 16 friends on Goodreads. That's exciting. 16 friends on Goodreads. Should be 17. My cousin really needs to add me back. Um I have read 13 books this year, like I said, so that's pretty good. I have 68 books. Oh no, I have 52 books reported as read on my Goodreads. And I sort of few like tips to get started on Goodreads is like or to get back into reading. I first went on here and like put in books that I loved when I was in like middle school because I kind of stopped reading. High school ruins reading for people a lot of the time, or at least it did for me. So to get back into it, I like wrote in the books that I loved then, and then you just sort of have to keep trying new things until you figure out what works for you. Let's see what my let's do my five star books. Paper Towns by John Green. See, this is one of those ones that I wrote in as like this is one of those books that I loved. I loved reading it when I was in middle school and I still love it. I especially like the last section of it because it's just so like I love how he broke it up into times and it makes me feel good. It makes me happy. I like Paper Towns by John Green. Fun story. Fun little sidetrack story. I had a party in college once and I don't know, I was having a rough night the night before or something. Or I was in between books. You know when you're like in between books and you just need something for one night. Well, I read Paper Towns. I read that section. It was sitting on my nightstand, and my friend walked into my room, and she came over and talked to me later, and she was like, "Emma, I saw that Paper Towns was on your nightstand. Are you okay?" I was like, yeah, yes, I'm okay. Thank you, thank you so much for like being worried about me. Someone has to be, when you see like someone reading John Green it could be a cry for help when they're like when they're 22 or whatever. But anyway, I love Paper Towns. I think it's great. Next up, Where the Crawdads Sing. I gave 5 stars. I loved it. I read that last year. Oh no, I read that earlier this year. That's crazy. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. I way better than the movie, of course, naturally. They always are. It was it's just so beautiful the way that they talk about like the environment, and it's a coming of age novel. There's a little romance. It is like the perfect, it's one of the more perfect books I've read. Like the fact that it could bring the environment into it so well, I loved, because like that's something that I really care about. Okay, Total 180, Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. So Stephen Chbosky wrote Perks Being a Wallflower, which is a great book. This is a horror novel, so completely nothing like it. I loved it. I didn't love the ending, but like for me it was so worth it. This was one of the books that I read that I was like, okay, I'm back into reading. Like this one helped me get back into it specifically. I don't think it would help everyone, but I loved it. I thought it was so good. Um The House in the Cerulean Sea, loved that one. Really easy read, really lighthearted. It's almost like a young adult, but there are sort of adult themes, and I think that that is like what's kind of beautiful about it. Anxious People. Ooh, oh my god, I read that this July. Great book. Hit home, cried. I want to read more of Frederick Backman's books because I loved how it was written. I really was worried at the start that I was going to hate it because I didn't like the interviews at all, but you're not supposed to like the interviews. So, or at least I don't know. I don't know if that, maybe you are, but I didn't love that part. This next one is my favorite book of all time, and this is the last of my fives. So we're going to leave it at that. Maybe one day we'll go through my fours, because my fours I think are like, fours are also good, but there's way more of them. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. So good. I read that this year as well. That's a book that like I know I'm going to reread. It was it was another one of those, like it was so beautifully written. I think it's the best written book I've read. I There's a chapter where it's like from the point of view of a video game. It's so good. I implore everyone to go read that book. It just talks about every topic in like a very eloquent way. It's thought provoking. It makes you like cry. It was fun. I loved it. I want to read it again. So it was one of those books that like I finished it and I was like, wow, I'm going to think about that for a while. And I'm at the point where I'm not thinking about it as much as I want to be. So I want to reread it. But yeah, those are my favorites. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk about my favorite books. Follow me on Goodreads. Okay, my era. What's my current era? I don't remember what my era was last time. I think I was in my hosting era last time because I had Gracie Poo visit. I'd say my era now is I'm in my confident era. I feel like you always like to say that you're in your confident era, but like I don't know. I really am feeling very good about myself and everything. And like this conference I went to just really boosted everything. I just met so many lovely people, and like not that it was about me, but it was like I got such good feedback from people, like compliments of people telling me that they reminded me of somebody in their life that was like really important to them, that they loved. And like that, like it just warmed my heart, you know? So it really like boosted my confidence because I was being so authentically myself. And to get that sort of feedback when you're being so like vulnerable, and for me being vulnerable is like being loud and fun and whatever. And so it was just really really nice to get that, to hear those things, and to like get to know those people so quickly, you know? Like those are big statements to make about somebody, to say that they remind you of your best friend from whatever. Like those are big statements, and the fact that people made those about me after like just getting to know me and like meeting me just really meant a lot. And it was just like very, and I got them from like multiple people, like unassociated, you know, like it was different times, and so like that was just really cool. So yeah, I'm in my confident era now, and I'm hoping that I can make that ish last for a really, really long time. Okay, and then finally, finally, in summary, what did we discuss? So we talked a lot about we did a lot of recap. That was mainly this episode was recap. We talked about Gracie Poo visiting, Peter McPolin, House of Blues, all that jazz. I went on some rants. We talked about the power going out of the plant. And we talked about the conference, of course, and how much fucking fun I had. How it was the best week ever, and I'm sad to be home. We discussed the culture shock of living in different states, which was fun. I feel like that might be a topic that I'll come back to at some point, like maybe once I'm understanding my new location a little bit more. And then what? We talked about books, right? I think that's kind of it. I don't think we talked about anything else. Playing pool. I think that's it. So, yeah. Thank you so much for joining me on episode 3 of Thinking on It. And I'll see you next time, of course.